here with something a little unusual, but actually played it super fluidly into the macro game. But a lot of his timing, so to speak, it's like he plays counter meta. So say if the Terran normally does a push because the Zerg is kind of droning up around that period of time, sometimes he can play to not drone up at all, stomp your attack, and then do a massive counter attack to be very, very far ahead. That kind of style. Like it's very, very difficult to play against, to get a grip on things. And here we see him going for like gas pool very quickly. And this is one of the fastest speedling openers you can pretty much do while still claiming you're playing macro.
Yeah, exactly. Also claiming that. I mean, it was 2 extractor tricks in total in that build too, just to get as many lings as possible with the second one. And that's got to be a dead command center, right? Like, how do you, unless you can barely finish it in time, but that just doesn't seem very realistic. And then even his main base would be under threat. Of course, repair will out-repair lings, no problem, but a command center.
So there's a few things here for Kelazhur. Does he run to the main to find out whether it's a Roach Warren? No, he's actually just going to run straight back home.
Okay.
Which that's a decent response. And I mean, these 2 lings will arrive, but he does have a Marine. Is he going to pull SCVs against this? Because if he pulls SCVs and he has like a Marine and a Reaper, okay, now he sees speed. Okay, so now that Kelazhur, oh no, don't lose the Reaper. Okay, he doesn't, but now he knows exactly what he's up against.
He just restarts the command center. He's going to wait a little while, I guess, to actually cancel it, but yeah, there's not much that you can do against it, honestly. If you SCV scout, you know, then maybe you can put the command center on the high ground, but barely getting that factory down as well. Again, they'll out-repair the ling damage here. It's only scary if there's banelings on the way too, which is certainly something to consider, but we know there is not, and Kelazhur did send his Reaper across the map to get that, what's going on after this? Is it roaches? Is it banelings? Lots of minerals lost worth repairing the supply depots, and it is 2 per to really make sure they're alive, but eventually Erik will have to leave.
He will, and if we're looking at this and being like critical or talking about like what's gone good, what's gone bad, I will say like getting the cancel was obviously really, really big for Erik. That was the whole plan right from the get-go. Kelazhur did a nice move of leaving the command center there, like not done, but it bought a lot of time. That bought him time to switch the factory over so he could actually reactor out Hellion. That was smart. But was that too many lings? In an ideal world, right, maybe he could have got the same job done with like 8 lings with speed maybe, but Kelazhur, even though he did get his natural cancel, the worker count's equal for now. Erik isn't making a ton of drones as of this moment. Like, I still think Kelazhur's in a pretty damn good spot.
Yeah, I think it really helps that he was so smooth in dealing with it, right? He didn't initially think, oh, it's just this, because speed finished kind of as those 2 lings came in. That was definitely a help. Didn't pull the SCVs, then go crap, and that's how things really spiral out of control. But just fluidly going into the next command center and now setting a down location after clearing up the lings that were remaining. He's got a Viking to push away the Overlord, which is pretty important because I saw Marauders on the tab and I was like, oh, does he think it's Roaches or is he going to do the Roach? Well, usually Hellbats, but the Armory would be a decent bit late. But anyways, he is getting Marauders slow as well, so I do expect that push. And can Erik hold against it?
This is super unorthodox, right? Like, I love the response. I think it's going to work out really well for him. Without the Armory, definitely unusual. The gas is super tight, though, and he's getting a Liberator with this. I think he's going to land the Viking as well, just for an extra bit of DPS. And Erik, he has 9 lings on the map and 5 queens. Getting a lair, he has no idea this is coming.
Yeah, really, I mean, who would? Just regular old Hellions are going to still, if with enough of them, deal a lot of damage. Even the Marine joining in here. Now, the Benevac goes aggressively on top of the Queens, but barely survives. Erik tried his best to focus fire that down, but even if he had, I mean, look at what's still left over, and all the Queens are dead. Lings are only now on the way, and they got the tackle. 6+ Hellions more are being rallied across the map. Is this just it?
I believe it is Zombie Grove. I mean, the medevac goes down, but the medevac, what are you going to do? Only lings are able to be produced here. There's no Baneling Nest, no Roach Warren, and that's a lot of lings just kind of falling, along with every drone that Erik has ever loved, and Kelazhur bringing the heat in game 1. You know, Latin America never ceases to amaze me with some of the builds that they pop out of there.
Yeah, right? There's like, you kind of you figure there's only so many options for Zerg as far as the opener goes, because you watch like these top tier European Zergs, and even when the Korean Zerg can be a little more aggressive, they usually kind of stick to the usual 16, 17, 18, right? But then you do watch some of the more unique Zerg, and they're suddenly doing like 14 out of 15, or 14 out of 14 rather, or 15 out of 14, and you're like, even earlier, and somehow manage to get a hatchery down. And you're like, what? Okay, so what exactly does this do? And that is actually the question right now. Like, what exactly is he planning to do with this? I mean, is he going to get a couple of Lings out and hope to still get at that delay on the command center? I'd assume so. It is still kind of an earlier pool. There we go. But then why not just go for the pool first as we would usually expect it, right?
Yeah, or like, but it definitely doesn't seem lined up all that well, because Kelazhur, he's ahead in workers, which is already kind of weird. He's like going to have upgrades like well on the way, which I don't think Erik is going to have for a while. And yeah, just Kelazhur's definitely in control of this game right now.
Yeah, just not a very streamlined build. It's probably could have been a lot nicer, a lot quicker. And instead, it's going to be a little bit awkward, not just on like, the whole economy issue, which he's finally getting to a decent place, having more drones, but also on like, does it really bother Kelazhur? Sometimes when it is that very, very early spire, it's like, oh, great, now I got to deal with this and then worry about my push. But now as it is, on a short map too, I mean, Kelazhur feels like he could still push out and then force the mutas to be used kind of first for the defense. We'll see what he decides. I will say the one thing for Submarine, when we talk about this, whenever we do see it in TVZ, is that whoever gets momentum kind of keeps the momentum, right? Like if you don't do anything with your first push against that Zerg and suddenly creep spread is like enveloping your own third base, that is very scary. So maybe that's what he's thinking, trying to get that hold on the map, really pressure in with the mutas, and then have really good creep spread. And he's trying to push that.
Yeah, the creep spread is definitely starting to really develop here. And I mean, Kelazhur, he's definitely been trying to get it denied. I am scared for Erik in these next few moments, though, because these supplies, I don't feel they're meant to be at what they are right now, especially with 1-1 completed against 0-0. This tank positioning is also really scary. Does he have an armory? Oh, he does. And so the Hellbats will be joining the fray as well. Erik has got his work cut out for him, and he's supply blocked. No overlords on the way either. Just 2 starting.
And this is what I was saying, like, you just feel like the mutas got to be used defensively first, which really isn't going to, unless he takes, like, one hell of a fight. At no point is Kelazhur going to feel as suffocated as maybe Erik was hoping he would. The fight already not going super well. It does grab one tank, but barely not the... Oh my god, he doesn't get the other one. Loses mutas, loses drones, loses mineral mining, and then might actually lose his third hatchery as well.
And he doesn't even have a 4th on the way. It's not like he was playing greedy and overextending here. Kelazhur just came, saw, and conquered, and now he's 40 supply ahead. 2-2 is on the way as well. And Erik, he didn't have a chance this game whatsoever. Look at that resources lost tab. 5k resources lost against like the 1k of Kelazhur. And over in the bottom right, up to something cheeky, and yet again, it is Erik. So, Zombie Grove, how do you feel about the 15 hatch in yet again?
Not a fan. Apparently he still goes into an okay macro build, I guess, but yeah, how okay was that with the way that the last game looked? I don't know.
So I will always remember my time in EG when I look at weird, kind of funky Zerg builds. Because do you remember the name LZ Gamer?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so back when Zerg used to start off with 6 drones, there was 2 viable openings. It was either you go 9 Overlord and then make a drone afterwards, and then drone up normally, or you go 10 Overlord with the extractor trick. Now, somebody worked out mathematically that the 9 Overlord was slightly better. Like, very slightly, but they were both very similar. Like, you could kind of mix it up. Now, LZ Gamer, and I remember playing practice games with him, and I ended up watching, like, one of the replays afterwards, because, I do that. I watch myself. It's really fun. And he went 10 Overlord without the extractor trick. Not Roach, for sure. So I think he's definitely going to be in the know. And the thing is, I actually think 2-base Spire's a good build. It's definitely back in fashion. The bit that I'm kind of like, okay, this is 2-base Spire, off kind of screwing yourself over with like the 15 hatch early on, and then like, you know, the weird extractor tricks as well, and the early lings to be aggressive. It's just, it's an odd way of doing things. I'm not necessarily sure if it's getting Erik leads at any point. The only way I see it getting you leads is if your opponent kind of messes up, and when you're at this level, you're praying and hoping as opposed to trying to outgame your opponent.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. You know, I think this, for me, it was kind of popular like last or even the previous season, maybe even, because I remember Scarlet was doing it, you know, a decent amount. And I was really, you know, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to emphasize that I think it worked better for Scarlet than most of the reserves who were trying, and not that it didn't work for some other people. You know, Cyril did it a couple times, sure. But that it works especially well for Scarlet, yeah, because she has such amazing creep spreads. No matter how hard you try, she just apparently is going to be in the middle of the map before you can do anything about it. But even then, like, she, I think, stopped kind of doing it, you know, reliably. It's not your opener for every single ZVT. But anywho, Kelazhur's already now had a lot of creep spread, and while Erik is still going to be getting to that mid game, I think in the best place yet so far, Kelazhur is not in a bad place at all. He's already defended with missile turrets. He's got his upgrades on his way. 3rd CC was slapped down. This is Viking. All right, sure. But he's still going to have his push that, if he continues clearing up creep spread as well, it might still be pretty decent.
So Kelazhur's actually continuing to make Hellions. I wonder... Yeah. Oh, he's actually got Reactor Factory here. So it's going to be quite a lot of Hellions with this. So the Hellbats with the push. Very reminiscent of like the... Oh! The Mutas did get caught by a little ragtag group of Marines, and the Marines are slaughtered, but not without taking out a couple of those Mutas. Kelazhur's already up to 5 barracks, pumping out lots and lots of units. So Erik, his Evos have only just started with this. So even though he's got a lot of Mutas and more on the way, it's very delayed upgrades.
I do believe it is later than usual for this build, right? Like, of course, you're going to have later upgrade, just what you're choosing to prioritize and needing the Baneling speed as well to make sure you don't die. But, yeah, it feels even later. Like, he put a lot into Mutas, so he's actually at 15. He would have been at 17. That's a lot for 7.5 minutes.
It's done, but Kelazhur's very solid overall and starts up his 2-2 immediately. It very much feels like Kelazhur's not missing a beat. And if we look at the work account as well, this is one of the main things that scares me about plays like this, where the Mutas are meant to buy you so much time, but he's having to use them defensively. That is a lot of Banes, though.
Yeah, and a little bit of a last-second split there, so the Hellbats didn't soak up as much as they would have wanted, and the Marines also got some splash there, too. That is a very solid cleanup. That was quick. That was, I mean, efficient might be the wrong word to use when it comes to Banelings, but it was very quick, and that's one of the important things about any type of cleanup. So he also didn't lose his base, which I was prepared to talk about how when you see this from some Zerg players, it's kind of almost like they're okay with maybe even losing one of those bases, because at least they have another fourth, if you will, to go fall back to. But it seems like Erik is actually legitimately going to be on 5 bases. I'm assuming this drop is not going to be able to kill it, although it will grab a couple of drones, maybe a couple of Mutas, as it leaps into the main base. I would love to, but that is...
You then get a big economy, but these Mutas, they're kind of playing the defensive role right now, as opposed to, like, getting stuff done, and he's just missing this drop, and this, it's not yet a drilling... what's it called? Drilling Claw Widowmine drop, but it can still deal a lot of damage and distract.
Yes, and that's exactly what it's primed to do. It's distracting, so it won't get any damage done, but the Mutas aren't helping. They're not doing harassment. They're not scouting this push, but there is very little creep spread, so pretty much the last-second defense here, but maybe good enough. Good split there from Kelazhur. One Widowmine was triggered. Actually, both of them were taken down, so this is just back to pure bio. Does Erik have enough? I guess not. He's waiting for more Banelings, so a hatchery does indeed fall. Just totally unprepared for that attack.
Oh, and his 2-2 just finished, and boom, starts up +3 attack as well. Drilling Claws on the way, Thor on the way. Also, behind all this aggression that Kelazhur's been kind of just throwing at Erik, he's put up a 4th behind this as well. He's getting turrets down. He's just been on top of everything macro-wise. And Erik, this lack of upgrades and just the fact that he hasn't been able to be as aggressive as he wants with these Mutas, it's really biting him in the butt.
I mean, it's exactly the problem for him. This many Mutas going up to 23 with +1. if they're the ones controlling you and it's Aaron's the one forced to stay back and desperately try to drop, but it's not really working out, that gets really scary. It's really suffocating. They do find a Thor, but then another base actually goes down. Lings in the middle kind of got caught by some of the bio units there from Kelazhur. Yeah, they're not really suffocating Kelazhur. Kelazhur is still getting on the other side of the map, which I thought would be a bit difficult after his first push was cleaned up so well. Just maybe a little bit too aggressive on creep, but he is swiftly following it up with consistent aggression. And while he's going to back away for now, I do assume that it's going because he's going to max out and then turn over to the left side.
Yeah, it's just a really rough spot for Erik because I mean we're looking at this creep spread, and it sounds weird to say this, like the creep to his 5th base, like his 5th base is kind of uncreeped here, which is really, really weird to say because that is so close to your natural. So Kelazhur has done a really good job of cleaning things up, and this run by, connects with the Widowmine. That is quite a few Banelings, but the PF alone almost dealt with those Banelings, and Kelazhur, he's just trading so efficiently everywhere. I feel kind of bad just like speaking good about what Kelazhur is doing, but he's just playing this very, very perfectly.
Yeah, he's not letting the momentum shift, which I think is really important, because as soon as he is entirely on his home, and that's it, like no pushing, no drops, or only one drop, something along those lines, that's when Erik really looks strong. But as Erik is consistently trying to do things defensively, and then even when he does try and get an engagement on the other side of the map, it doesn't really go that well. He did get a kill at Command Center, so it wasn't terrible, but not what he wanted. That's not a great sign, as he's not moving up into the better army. He's not going up to ult, he's not going up to further upgrades, as Kelazhur takes a couple of Banelings to the face, but this attack is right before 3-3 is done. That is going to kick in.
Yeah, nice split by Kelazhur. It is a little bit of an anti-timing, I suppose. Oh my gosh, if Erik engages in a moment, he's like, yeah, I'm against 2-2, right? And then boom, the +3 attack finish. This could be really bad for Erik. He is moving all the way off creep as well. 3 is done. The Mutas are falling to the Marines, and great splitting by Kelazhur. Marines everywhere, saving the Thor as well. And the Mutas, it's just down to like 6 after being up in the high 20s. This on lifting up the Marines as well. Kelazhur, he's just playing with his food right now.
He's got a lot more reinforcements that he is going to bring those medevacs back to. I believe those some of the last of the Banelings. Literally 3 more and just pure Ling reinforcements. Lings with not very good upgrades either. This is going to be the killing blow. Kelazhur continuing to rally forward, even on creep, not really clearing it up despite that scan. There's a tap out. Kelazhur with the clean 3-0.